Okay, let's go. As you might notice, I did 2 puzzles, failed both of them, so we're back where we started. Daily puzzle time. I looked at it for 3 seconds and I wanted to do this, but I don't... Oh, actually it does work. Because you can win this knight and this is checkmate in the end. Oh. This is still working. Wait, no, I have to do this. Whatever. I can get to here. Can also push the king that way, but I don't think that's useful. I think this is definitely a thing. I mean, staircase? So it's here. What was the point of this staircase? Maybe there was none. You can, however, give this check and then build some sort of staircase. But I don't think that's useful. But this must be the first move. What's the second move? Not sure yet. Do I really need to give checks? Yeah. Maybe I can play something like that. So the king is here. Queen is there, king is there. Here. Oh, you can also take the knight. In that case. Can also give this check, but that loses the pawn, which might be fine. I guess you get a new pawn. And you can also take that one, by the way. This seems like a reasonable plan. And I think it must be this. And I think that is also a reasonable move. And if you take the knight, then this is checkmate. Okay. Actually it's not. There's a knight. Ooh. Maybe you can just take the knight. In that line. What else could I try? I don't think there's a reason to play this. It does force the king to go back, but I think the point is that the king just got stuck on the H file with the last move. Let's look at the last couple of moves. It's just someone trying a perpetual. Yeah. And now giving a checkmate because a perpetual is not good enough anymore. Could be this, that. King is there. Actually, yeah. No, that's fine. And then actually it could also be this, I think. So you can't. I think this is good enough. Unless it's checkmate, of course. Because this wins a queen and this only loses a rook. So let's say no taking. Oh, there's no more check after this. No, there is. You can sack the knight. Okay, so it's not knight f4. So it must be this. Yes. And no. I mean, I can do the staircase again. Right? Because... oh, maybe not. It's oh, it's not even a draw. Here, take the knight. I wanted to try to sack the rook, but that's not good enough. I can go there. And rook check. And that's mate. No. I need to go here, but yeah, it's checkmate. So if I go here, you can't take the knight. Next step in the staircase. Rook. That's it. And the point was that this is checkmate, right? Yeah. Anything... yeah. It's just a draw if you don't go to h6, and now it's mate in 6. And it must be exactly this. This king f3 and rook e4, I saw that. And it's exactly this. And exactly this, and exactly this. Which you didn't even need to do. Okay. There's this nice idea where this is checkmate, but if you prepare that with the king, then you lose the bishop with check. So that doesn't actually work. Check here. I can also do that. get the pawn running. Or this actually, which threatens this checkmate. And defends against checks here, if in that case. See here, might force that. And this. Oh, you can give that check still, forcing it to take. But that might be good enough. I don't think so. It could also be check and dare. Because how do you defend that? And there's no check without sacking the exchange. You can try this. But then I at least have a discovered attack winning the rook. If not, win. This is checkmate, I believe. So it's this check first and then this. Yeah. And winning an exchange is good enough here. Yeah. Bishop c6. You're forced to sack. Yep. There's a discovered attack here, maybe. There's this thing. The thing is, though, if you take immediately, they can't take with the queen, so they must take with the bishop. Which is interesting. Gives you free reign over the f-file. But I don't see the point yet. If I move the knight, you can also do that, which is annoying. I think this is definitely interesting enough to look at. There's also, oh, there's this threatening this and that. And there's no saving that, right? I don't think so. Nice try, but I think that doesn't do anything. Yep. We're getting there. This pins a queen. How do you defend? What's the material like? We're equal. This is a mate threat, so it's basically forced. You can try... Oh, do that! Nice. And if this check I block with the bishop, then I get checkmated here. So I just take the knight first. Maybe not. Also you can do that. Actually, we're down a pawn. That's weird. For this position. I mean, we can win this. Can't do that, so you're forced to do this. Ah! And then it does work. The queen pin, because you don't have bishop c6, c5. Yeah. Nice. And it was actually really good for black, this position. Actually, let's look at the game. Scotch defense with taking, that's, I believe, maybe that's fine. f4 just loses a pawn, and the attack immediately starts. You can also, let's take a look at what they did in this position. Rook e1 immediately, yeah, makes sense, and then you just okay, that's an interesting game. Okay. Rook is undefended, and there's a check option. Can I can do that, right? So if I was looking at giving this check, forcing king f7, and then this is double attack on this pin and the rook, but you can actually defend that. Could go here, because that's, oh, that's not defended by the queen. It's defended by the king though. But that's, or if the queen was here, it's defended. Why is my move wrong? I mean, this wins, of course, but what's wrong with queen d4? Oh, you lose the rook. Fair enough. What just got taken? Her full rook. Okay. Material is, other than the rook, equal. If I take, and this rook is attacked, and this knight is attacked, and this knight is attacked, but the king is very weak as well. So let's say take, because otherwise if you don't ever take the knight, you lose material. So let's take it immediately for sake of argument. Take here. that has a threat of that and that. So, can't go back to b8. I think this doesn't work for black because of rook d8 being too scary. So let's do a silly move. And you can play queen h6 there, threatening everything with checkmate everywhere. And you can delay by giving 2 checks or whatever. 3 even. So I just want to take. Maybe I should do that. No, that loses too much with check as well. I can also take with the bishop, but I do actually want a rook on this file. Okay. Ah, so much hanging still. Do I have to sack the exchange here? Actually, I can't do that. And material is equal after that. Actually, no, it's not. Take, queen. Winning this bishop and defending this knight. And I actually do need to sack the exchange for that. Yep. Back again. Okay, so there's this pin, and I can take here. I can also take here. But I'm wondering what you do. You can do that just barely. Or, yeah, no, it's this. That just barely works. And maybe just that, threatening this mate, and you can't take. This wins a piece, but we're down a rook, so that doesn't help. And this is not a mate threat, so you can just do whatever. So yeah, it is this. Cool. I have to move up. Maybe you can run. Can still give this check and win the knight. Maybe with the bishop and this, and win this rook. I guess not. I guess I needed to do it this way. That's mean. Apparently this is good enough to defend. Is this a thematic thing where you sack the rook? King takes, it's this mate into, and knight takes, you can go here. almost works, I think. Actually, on knight takes you can still go there. And how do you defend against that? Well, you can just go back. Also on rook takes there's just nothing. I don't have to sack the rook, I can just do this. Forces rook or the bishop. Unlikely to be the answer. I can also do this, threaten here. Which has plenty of ways to defend. Let's say that. I don't think this is anything. Quickly check. Okay. I wanted to know what they just took, but it's a pawn, so that's fine. Wait, this knight is undefended. So if you do that, how do you defend? Well, you can just move the bishop. Something like that. Do you have a secondary plan with this queen? No, not really. Also this loses this rook. Kind of important. What were the last couple of moves for black? Just rerouting the queen to d8. Is it this? No. Still loses the rook. It's from here, so you can't really use this diagonal probably. Could also be rook f wow, rook f to b7. But that doesn't do anything actually. If I do that, I've threatened mate, so you have to take. Probably, basically. If you don't take, I'm up a pawn, that's good enough. No, then the knight is very much defended already. Hmm. Must be something with the king at least. Right? There's no other interesting point. I mean, this knight is also interesting, but that's really hard to attack. So it is something like that. This you can just play rook g1, for example. And taking twice, isn't it? Let's look back at the rook sack. Let's quit doing that. There's rook g2, but I don't see what that does. It's just nothing. I mean, the interesting lines in this position are here and here and here for white to defend. So let's... This one must be an interesting line. It cuts off the king perfectly. So this, if I put a knight there, it's checkmate. If I put a queen there, it's checkmate. And there's nothing you can do about that, this line at least. I can do this and sack. Wait, is that it? No, right? If I sack twice, I can get this, but that's not useful. Also, the knight can take back at some point. There might be a sack here. Let's say king, because you can't defend that, you can't do anything useful. Maybe you can maybe take here with the bishop to defend somehow. Let's say take, knight takes, you get to this diagonal, oh, and then c3 again. So that's not it. But I was looking at king takes, this check. Probably nothing even then. What could it be? This is a relatively forceful move. It forces either one of these. So if this, then this rook is suddenly not attacked anymore, and this is not a threat anymore. Kind of opens up my position, but I don't know what for. And if rook takes, then neither of those are true. But the back rank might be open to some extent. At some point I just have to give up and go guess or something. And the only guess I have is just taking. Or this. I have no clue at all. Knight a3 I saw, okay. But what's the point? And then queen b6. Because you can't defend like that or anything. Because then the rook, and that's... I don't see the issue. And queen f6. Yeah, I didn't see that. Okay, this is way easier to do, these types of puzzles. Because I do have a breakthrough. But this actually doesn't win. Because the white is faster, right? No, black is faster. We're one square closer, but that's fine because white moves first. But together that means that basically black moves first in an equal position. And if you push, then I take here. And if you try to get closer, you are close enough, but I just take there instead. Actually, I know I go run with this piece, this pawn then. So here, you're just barely in time. But then I go run with this one, and so instead of that, you can go here, queen, queen. Maybe what I should do is this, take, and take, but then this pawn starts running. Am I in time? I am. Okay. So that's a win because I just walked to the pawn. Oh. Of course you can just take. But I think that's fine. Right? If I just take. Also, I can do this and just promote first. No, the square for this pawn I need to get here. So if I want to block it with my king, I need to run now, which I won't do. So I should just take the a pawn. I guess not. But king is in the square. Oh, it's just that these two pawns together are so fast. And they can't take anymore. And none of this, yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll get to puzzle again and not lose 50 points. Ugh. So there's the mate in one threat. Taking the bishop isn't good enough in terms of material. You can do this. But then I get that check. Or this check, I don't know. Probably this one. You can also block with the queen, but I don't think that's good enough material wise. So let's say rook blocks. Check. Either the queen or the rook blocks that one. Maybe not. Last couple of moves. Second attack. The bishop is very pinned, but that's not an issue, I don't think. Oh, the bishop actually isn't pinned, but you can't trade queens here. Let's say queen blocks, because of the rook blocks. Actually, let's look at rook blocks first, because then there's this check. Which forces the rook back. No. There's that, which is cool. Oh, I think actually that works. You can't take the queen because of this. You can't take the rook because of this. And you can't take the bishop because of this. Taking here with the queen. So you need to defend this checkmate, which I'm threatening, which is basically this or queen here. Let's look at this first. Check, you're forced to go back. And then I saw this check, which wins material. So this block. And then this check, which wins some material, right? Maybe not good, maybe not enough. So here, queen blocks. I can also do this check, because there's no good block. Oops. Okay. I mean, that's basically the same point, right? Well, not quite. But I can give this check. No, I can't, because the king can just take, because the rook is still defended. But I can give this check or that check. It's probably just this check. You're forced to block with a piece. So let's say rook blocks, then I get this check, which forces it back, which is kind of helpful, because then I get here. No, that's not good enough, because you can even just take the bishop. And I can't sack the rook here, unfortunately. I thought I had a fun... Oh, maybe it still works. Maybe queen e2 still works. Probably the same idea, right? Maybe you can sack pieces and actually queen defends here. The issue is that maybe this is a perpetual. Because otherwise it's very much checkmate. Actually, it's not even checkmate. Because you can take and this... you can run. Which was an issue with the previous version as well. But if I take... then material balance. Technically I'm up a pawn there. Can also do this check, forcing something to block. Let's say rook blocks. There is this idea that I can sack and play queen e2, because the rook is pinned. But that doesn't do any... it attacks here, but that doesn't do anything. Threatens mate. Like this or whatever. Or that. And this check, which is the only thing you can try, it doesn't work. This is this trade's material, because I get this and win queen for a rook, and then I'm down an exchange in the end. But maybe this immediately does work. Unlikely. Maybe then I get this and sack here. But if you take with the rook, I win material. But if you just take with the king, there's nothing. There is maybe something here. Can also give a check there, but I think this is probably better. Forced to go back. Maybe I take here. Probably not. And queen blocks. Doesn't actually help me. I think I'm at my expected rating for these puzzles. Wait, because I'm struggling quite hard and I'm not finding it. So maybe I'll just quit this and like do a couple puzzles offline. And I was trying to actually, like, you know, climb the rating. For you it's that direction, climb up, seeing if I could get to 26, 27, but maybe 25 is just enough. I'm strongly assuming it's this, though. Keeping this discovered attack alive and keeping the attack going, maybe. There's also this, threatening to win a full rook. And you can maybe just move it. It might also be no. This, and you can defend. It could also just be taking and just claiming that you're better in that position. Take here, take there, take there, take here. Up a pawn. You're gonna win this pawn as well, right? Actually, maybe you're not winning that position. That's actually losing. Up a pawn. That's stupid. Okay. Good to know that I actually need to find something. So this threatens to win a full rook, which would be good enough. And let's say this defends. Or that. Actually, let's say here. Because that's a mate threat. Oh, in that case, maybe I can take and win this pawn and... no, I don't want to take that. I want to go here in the end. Trade everything. It's probably a draw. Unless maybe I take there and then there in the end if everything gets traded. So here, if queen blocks, maybe I just take. And take here, and I'm up 2 pawns. That could be winning. I think that's winning. So rook takes as the only alternative. And then maybe rook f3 or something. No, then you lose the bishop. Rook here, maybe I just take still. And just take and take. Two pawns, that's good enough, right? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I do want to see... Oh, okay, I would have blundered. Yeah. What's the move? You need to find this. Okay. I think I would have spotted that. Oh, you take there. That might even... That's way better, yeah. Yeah, okay, this is winning. 2 pawns. You can get that. This is gonna be the final puzzle. There's this pin, but every pin is a discovered attack. But how can I use the discovered attack, is the question. Materials balanced. Even pawns, yes, even pawns. 7 each. I can force this bishop back. Not really useful, I don't think. I can block. Don't know why I'd do that. Maybe this. But like, that doesn't do anything. Or maybe that. Yeah, queen takes here. Oh, that does... No, that doesn't work. Because then you take here with the queen. So here queen takes. The point is that on pawn takes you can take there. Because then the knight is no longer pinned. So queen takes. Maybe then bishop pin first and then this. Because then on queen takes here. Oh, that still works. So this I wanna still prep rook e7. how would that work? I mean, this seems like a useful inclusion. Maybe I just take still. And then this, because then the knight is no longer attacked twice. I think that works. Oh, I actually need to take the queen. Okay. And we've dropped basically after a full hour. I mean, this streak is a, let's see, these two are -1, +1, each one of these is -5, -14 total, +8 is +6, or -6, +1. Okay, we're +13, but I started 28 lower, I believe, than I did. Whatever, I'll see you at 2500 maybe later.